I had a brother. He joined the service before May of 1942, the United States Marines, but he went in before the war. Friends I had, but 10 friends that I know of that were in, they were all drafted the minute war was declared. A bunch of us girls were walking home from a game. A car went by with a bunch of fellas in it, and they were yelling, war was declared. We were laughing at them because we said, oh, don't say that, you know, because my brother was already in service, and he was stationed out in California. We didn't believe those fellas till we got home. Then the radio, Franklin Roosevelt declared war that night. It was on that Sunday night. All the fellas were being drafted left and right. Then, you know, everybody was going into war. It was a shock. One boy that I went to school with, he was only 17 years old. He was on that first ship that was bombed, the USS Arizona. He was killed on that ship when the Japs bombed Pearl Harbor. But then the funny part about that, my brother, with the name Kotyo, it was spelled Kotyo, so he was already in service, and they questioned him. They thought he was Japanese. Then he had to prove where his parents came from, where his grandparents came from, and then they finally settled that. Then there was a store in Plainfield. It was a ladies' store. It was called Jap Tex. They investigated it because it had the name Jap in it. And being that it was the Japanese War, they had to close because they didn't want any part of, you know, Japanese. It's the way things went back then, you know. It was chaos like then, you know, everything was up in arms. And it was sad, though, because everybody was afraid what was going to happen next, you know. It was frightening. You know, I was only 18 years old, so, you know, it was, you know, what's going to happen. Then they had a camp nearby, Camp Kilmer. Our town was full of soldiers. You know, we see soldiers all around, all the time. Guys were joining Army, Navy, and Marines, and they were going in left and right. If they weren't drafted, they joined. We had a lot of Red Cross workers. They would help. They'd be prepared just in case they needed them, you know. Red Cross was always there. We had Gold Star mothers. They were called Gold Star mothers because they lost someone in service. And we had a lot from our town to Nellen. Oh, there were a lot killed. You know, our little town alone, there was so many of them. But it was sad to live through that, though, you know. And then my brother was in here for 4 years in the Marines. Oh my God. Oh, the people were shouting, they were happy and crying and dancing all over the street, and everybody was happy and singing and dancing in the street. And I happened to be in New York at the time. I was proud to be in that and to see it. I mean, how people react, you know. When you hear about war, you're so sad, and then all of a sudden you hear this and then you're so happy. I mean, you're so worried what's going to be next, you know. Mothers that had their sons going away and half of them not coming home. For an 18-year-old to know that we're at war and what's going to happen, and you know, they had the USO for the soldiers. Like, I know my sister, they used to go there and dance with the fellas and just to, you know, be with them. They were all, many of them were away from home. You know, so the USOs were nice for the soldiers. The only thing is we had one fella that came home with a Japanese war bride. The town was very, very upset over him. They were ready to kick him out of town. Our town was so small, so people talked anyway. You like to wipe all those memories out of your mind, but you can never forget it. You know, like Pearl Harbor, when Franklin Delano Roosevelt announced he's America's at war, it was a shock. what were they going to do? They had to go fight it, and they had to send the guys out to fight. When you get hit like that, it's like so devastating. You know, when you live through something like that, and at my age now, you never forget it.